I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order and invite everybody to rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So let's go, we have roll call.
Craig Kershaw.
Here.
Matt Dart.
Here.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Here.
Scott Murray.
Here.
Wiley Sir.
Here. You were all emailed a copy of our minutes from our April 17th meeting. If you've had a chance to review those minutes, I'd look for a motion to either amend them or pass them.
So moved.
Second. For passage? Yes. I have a motion and a second to pass the minutes from April 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Okay, first thing. You get my cheat sheet out for this one. We need to make Phyllis needs to make a matter of record the deed recording the tract of land that the city deeded to the city waterworks department, which was carved out of the city farm out on the east edge of town where we plan to build a water plant. So, Phyllis, you have something there that...
It's just a warranty deed. The City of Decatur conveys and warrants to the City of Decatur, Indiana Department of Waterworks.
We just need to make that a matter of record if I could.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion in 2 seconds to make this a matter of record. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Okay. Next, Kevin, if you would, you need to advise the council something, I think.
Yeah, within the next week, we're going to file a petition to annex that property, and then I request that you guys, the council will authorize Phyllis to advertise in public hearing. This meeting?
June 5th.
June 5th. Yeah, we need to have a public hearing to do that, and so Kevin he's going to,
File the petition to annex.
The process is, Kevin will need to submit a petition to annex, and once that petition gets filed, then you have 30 days in which to hold a public hearing. But the statute also requires that you publish the notice of the public hearing at least 20 days prior to the meeting or hearing. So we're just giving you a heads up now so that you can authorize getting the hearing scheduled for the first meeting in June, and we'll advertise it as soon as the petition is filed.
So moved. So, based on what Kevin's saying there, what we're looking at is to schedule a public hearing for the annexation of that land at our June 5th meeting. And Wiley's made that motion.
Second.
Craig has seconded it. Any discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Thank you. Wasn't that bad.
Why would it?
Okay, next we have, I think, a couple of CF1 forms to approve for Gilpin, the annual CF1 tax abatement form, and another one then, I think, for Rev. Phyllis, if you want to just kind of go over the details. I think you emailed the Gilpin one out to everyone, if you've had a chance to see it. I don't know if you have or not.
Yes.
The Rev one, it just came in today, so she didn't...
I didn't get that to you.
Yeah.
For Gilpin, it's for real estate and personal property. They currently have 24 employees. They actually have 26. The salaries are $762,000.
That was estimated.
That was estimated on the SB1 form. They actually have $790,000. And number of additional employees, they estimated 4, and they actually have 2. And the salaries for what was estimated was $96,000, and they actually have $28,000.
I think the key thing is that they're
And that's the same, it's the same, they report
On both of
on personal and real estate.
the key thing is that current number of employees is up by 2, and their salaries is up by 28,000, something like that.
So I would consider that, again, that term is substantial compliance. I would consider that within substantial compliance.
Thank you, Matt, I agree.
I'd make a motion to accept the...
I'll second this motion.
I have a motion and a second to accept the CF1 form for tax abatement purposes for both real estate and personal property for Gilpin. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll have you sign this tomorrow.
Okay. And then we have another one from Rev.
Rev has both real estate and personal too, but they only filed with me.
You're going to let
the
them know
personal,
that,
but I'll let them know
Okay.
that they need to do the real estate.
so we'll probably do another one at our next meeting.
They don't have anything under the current number of employees, but as estimated on SB1 when they filed for the tax payment, but they have actually 1,318 employees. Salaries at $54,944,667. Number of employees retained is 187. Salaries is $9,101,906, and number of additional employees, they estimated on the SB1 form when they filed 625, and they actually have 1,131
Wow. They're way over.
with $45,938,561 in salaries.
Was this for the building they added on there?
This is for,
Yeah, what year are they in?
They brought in
it
equipment
was
at
brought in,
multiple
it
sites.
started in '09, estimated completion was
service center?
12.
And the service center wasn't part of that, or was it?
It says new equipment including paint booths, manufacturing equipment, special tooling, retooling, and computer hardware.
I think it's when they closed California, in Pennsylvania, and brought all that
Oh,
here.
yeah, 09 is when that...
when we
Yeah.
signed
Yeah,
up for this.
You're right, Matt.
So they're getting pretty close to being done then, right?
Yeah, it is. This might even be the last year.
It's great to see they're way up in employees
Yeah.
from their estimate.
I vote 21.
I'd say they're substantial. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the tax abatement, and this is for, what did you say, real estate?
Personal
For
property.
personal
property.
Personal and real estate. But I didn't get the CF1 form for the real estate.
Okay,
So
but we're going to approve both, though?
I would say the numbers...
The numbers
will be the same, yeah.
Right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That's taken care of. Tonight's event form night. Come on up, Melissa. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 event forms to cover tonight. The first 3 I'll let Melissa handle, and the 4th one I'm going to ask Connie, and if there's any others come, they can join at that time.
I only have 3.
Yeah, you have 3,
Craig has
correct.
one.
Okay.
You have 3, and then Connie has the 4th one.
No,
that's
Craig
fine.
has one.
Oh, Craig has Kikianga Festival.
I'll just give you all.
We have the Decatur Homebrew and Barbecue Fest. We have the Farmers Market. And then the 3rd one that Melissa has, and Connie can come up with that one, is the Decatur Sculpture Tour. And then when they're done, Craig can cover the Kikianga Festival. That's the 4th one. The first one, let's go to, was the Decatur. The Decatur is Saturday, June 23rd.
We need to verify. I don't know what...
And as we go through these, we have to kind of keep in mind that we're going to have a little flexibility because we don't know when the plaza is going to be done, okay? With that being June 23rd, we're hoping the plaza is usable by that date. But they're asking to close Madison Street Plaza and First Street from between First Street parking lot and American Legion.
We would leave the Legion parking lot accessible as well as the north entrance of the First Street parking lot open. Just kind of so that the plaza tees in to First Street and goes out a little bit.
Okay.
Which of those is?
This is Decatur.
Decatur.
They're going to need an electrical panel on Madison Street Plaza, which is going to be available. I'd like to use the restrooms at the plaza. They've got the signatures of the police and the fire and street department. And they've given us a map of kind of how the whole thing will be laid out. And again, this is all subject to the plaza being done. If it's not done, then they're going to move over where they were last year. But we're assuming,
As that layout changes, we will keep council and police and fire and street posted on that layout change. We wait on the city council to approve the event form, and then we send in that approval to accompany our alcohol permit to let the state know that the city has approved this event. And our insurance is in the works, and as soon as that gets completed, we will attach that to the event form for Philip. So again, like the mayor said, we're going to all be flexible for a minute.
For clarification, do we have the chamber listed on that too?
We have Decatur Main Street in the Decatur Chamber listed as the organization associated with the event.
Okay, that's for
The-
insurance purposes.
Yes.
and for the council, the layout between 2nd Street and the alley area is where the tents would be for the Brew Fest, okay? Just beyond the alley, there would be a band area. In front of the American Legion would be where the barbecue vendors are. In front of the new parking lot area, along that area, there'd be tables and chairs for people to sit and eat. And the barbecue cookers will be on that T part of 1st Street, is where that, over near the 1st Street parking lot. So that's subject to the plaza being done, but that's kind of the way they have it laid out for now. So, any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, if it changes, do you have to resend it into the state?
We do, and we had that instance last year with not knowing when the plaza was going to be done. We simply submit a, hey, we need to change the layout, we want to be in front with you. They come back with an email last year that they approved it. It was an easy process, just like I said, as long as we're up front with what's going on.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. A motion and a second to approve the 2018 Decatur Homebrew and Barbecue Fest. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? Thank you. There's that one.
I did, Barbara.
Tyler and then Matt.
Okay, the second one I'll bring up is the Farmers Market, the 2018 Decatur Farmers Market. And again, that's one that ultimately will be on the plaza. When it starts, and it's going to start before the plaza's
Farmers
done.
Market first day is Thursday, May 17th, and it will start in the chamber parking lot. Now, as soon as the plaza's done, we're anticipating maybe 3 or 4 markets, then it will shift to the Madison Street Plaza. And again, and the event form is for when it does move to the plaza. We know that on Thursdays there could be concert, there could be farmers market, so again, flexibility and figuring out where everybody's going to go is going to be a challenge. But if that gets updated or farmers market needs to shift at all, we'll come back and address the event form accordingly.
And this one is, it just lists the sponsor as the Decatur Chamber of Commerce only, is that right? Okay. That's on Thursdays, runs from June to October.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Decatur Farmers Market.
If you're involved in a chamber, I just accuse you.
Craig will recuse
I'll
himself
recuse myself
since
from all
he's
of these.
chamber president.
Well, except for the sculpture too, I'm not involved with that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, that's that one. And the third one, now Connie can speak up on this one if she'd like. This is the Decatur Sculpture Tour, and it's also sponsored as well by the North Adams Arts Council, as well as the Decatur Sculpture Tour Committee. This year, the unveiling and the big event is Friday, June 8th.
Thank you, Connie.
And again, the location of the beverage tent is up in the air depending on if there's anywhere on Madison Street that it could go on or will have to shift. So again, that'll be an update as we know. The insurance portion is in the works and we're working with Phyllis on that. The one thing that we would like to request on Madison Street is the plaza's not done, we would at least like an aisle to the restaurant. That if it has to cordon off the rest of the plaza for safety, if there's at least some sort of aisle to the restaurant building.
And Jeremy, can you check with Chad down there and make sure they have the hand railing installed by June 8th, even if the plaza's not done?
It's ordered.
It's ordered, okay.
So it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Okay. That is kind of, I've already tripped off of it, put it that way. Because I trip off of everything. Okay. This is the 7th year, Connie?
This is the 7th year, and I just wanted to I gave you a bit of an overview of what the Decatur Sculpture Tour Committee has brought to the city of Decatur. Since we started in 2011, we had, I think, about 16 sculptures. There were 8 indoor and 8 outdoor. And since then, we have grown to 27 sculptures, 27 original sculptures. But that's not all, because we've also included 12 permanent exhibits. We've added to this the Riverside Sculpture Park. We have 2 permanent sculptures at the Founders Park. We've got tourists that come in on a regular basis. You can tell whenever they're walking around with their maps that they've come in specifically for the Decatur Sculpture Tour. And we're hoping that, well, we had REV as a sponsor for 2 years, and that provided us a lot of cushion with our advertising and with our stipends that we provide for our artists. In order for us to continue to grow this program, we have to engage artists that are notable artists known throughout the United States. We have to make sure that our honorarium and our stipend for their travel to get here are competitive with other outdoor exhibits. We are in competition with some pretty notable outdoor galleries, and we have artists that are preferring to come to Decatur because we provide hotel accommodations, we have a very nice unveiling festival, and we just make it fun and enjoyable for them. But what's bringing them in here is the other titles or the other artists that they want to be engaged with. They see that Ben Hammond is here, and Gary Hovey's going to have quite a name for himself. Of course, we know Greg Mendez. We have the Pierce brothers from Cape Girardeau, and those artists are known around the United States. The artwork that was on the courthouse square by Lee and Tribby, that has won Best of Show in many of the art shows throughout in the Midwest.
That was the Hey Mary Lou.
Hey, Mary, that was one of your favorites.
That was the mayor's choice, yeah.
That was. And in order for us to continue to invite these artists and the artists accept to come, we have to make sure that we continue to have a competitive honorarium for them. And we're hoping that we can get support from the Decatur, city of Decatur, so that we can add to our marketing budget that we have. And again, we had REV as a sponsor for 2 years, but they haven't brought their show here for a while there.
Right. You had them as a platinum sponsor or the major, yeah.
Yeah, they set the platinum on that.
And they are a sponsor this year. It's just
They are.
that they're just a regular sponsor, not a big sponsor.
Yeah, whenever they brought their
National rally.
when they brought their rallies here, they provided a lot of not only audience to go through the show, but also provided a lot for us because we were their entertainment for that night. Don't have that this year, didn't have it last year. So we would really welcome not only the city of Decatur, but if the media could be so kind as to invite other sponsors who would like to stay on, to get on the bandwagon and bring these artists into town. It would be very helpful.
I agree. And the city has always contributed not only monetarily, but with in-kind services. You know, the day of that week, basically, it's setting out all the stands, what do you call them, the bases, thank you.
Though they also help
Set the
stage
statute.
exhibits.
Yeah.
They do a fabulous job with setting the bases and installing the exhibits.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
And so, yeah, you give us even though I think our sponsorship in past has been $1,000,
Last year it was 1,000, yes. And then
which is, we're considered a higher donor because of our in-kind services.
Mhm. We rank that at a platinum sponsorship.
Right.
And with the brochures, you see that there's a event sponsorship, and that's where you'll see the city of Decatur.
So you're asking for 1,000 again this
I
year?
am. I hope that we can get our
Is there any way to get them any more?
Is there any way to get them any more?
It's by far the best event the city has. And people, I live you know, we're just 2 blocks down, and we walk a lot. And the downtown is packed on weekends with people who are just here for this event.
Yeah.
And they come all the time.
All year round?
Didn't we set aside in our budget for this?
Extra? Was that
this-
free?
Well, for at least the 1,000.
We put
1,000.
more in the promotional.
Yeah.
I know they can use it. I'm on that, I happen to be fortunate to be on their committee, and, yeah, the funding has been running tight this year. They could use extra. Would you, how much would you propose, Scott? And then we'll have to ask Phyllis if she can make that work.
Whatever she needs.
Be careful what you say.
An open pocket.
Give her, I don't know, but it's just such a, I think it's very important to make it a top-notch event. Because once you start scaling back, then you've kind of lost what you've created. And the sculptures, if you go look at them, they're spectacular. I'm not an art person, but we walk all the time. I look at them all the time.
How about maybe 1,500 instead of 1,000?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
And Scott will second that. Phyllis, can you find that? Like 500?
Promotional budget.
Yeah.
It should be,
Okay. I have a motion and a second that we up our ante from 1,000 to 1,500. Any discussion before we vote? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you,
for
Melissa.
your support, and thank you for the kind words that you said. We really appreciate that.
Did we approve the sculpture tour event one?
No.
We did not.
No, we just...
Okay.
Are there any major changes, Melissa, to...
It's the usual, and the sculpture tour is always very sensitive to closing Second Street at the last possible minute.
Thank you.
We're proposing 3:30-ish to 10 o'clock. Proposing that Madison Street between 2nd and 3rd be closed. It's going to be closed on Thursday because of a concert, but go ahead and keep it closed through Friday. A 10 will come in for people to set up tables and chairs, and just leave that up for their duration of Friday. So Madison between 2nd and 3rd would be closed starting Thursday through 10 o'clock on Friday.
Unless things happen even better than it would be between 1st and 2nd.
Again, flexibility.
Right.
Make a motion to approve that
The
event form then.
yeah.
Yes.
Second. Motion and a second from Tyler here to approve the event form as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, thank you. So that's 3 of the 4, and Craig, you have a 4th one, I think, for Kikianga?
Yeah, Kikianga's going to come up. It's going to be August 15th through the 19th. Basically held all over town. Let's see, they've got out at Riverside. They'll be doing the opening deal on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., which is the church service or the praise service, and then that'll carry on. They have the educational day, which will follow. I think that's on Friday, and they'll be doing that. The Pioneer encampment will be at Riverside Field, and that'll last pretty much all weekend with education and things like that. Motorsports Festival will start Friday afternoon. We'll need street closure at that time, trash cans, and I've written down several things
Do you have this?
on the list, which I've already discussed it with the police department. They're going to do black powder shooting on Saturday morning about
Did you hear the
9 and
latest?
10.
They outlawed tomahawk throwing.
Anyway, I've contacted the police
That's a joke.
department about the, it's not the
It's
black powder. They're going to need some area blocked off back there where we do the mulch or the, what do you call it? Where we take
Yes, the
limbs
compost
and
pile and all
compost
that.
area, yes. The street, we'd ask for a street closure on 2nd Street between Monroe and I believe it's Jackson for the car show, sports fest, you know what I'm talking about.
Motorsports.
Motorsports Festival.
Yeah.
And that'll carry until 7 p.m. At 5 p.m., we're going to start German Fest, which will be hopefully on the plaza, if completed at that
Should
time.
be by then.
And that'll go on until about 11 o'clock at night. So with your blessing, I've discussed it with the parks, or Jeremy and Sue with the parks and the operations, and then also with the police and fire.
I'll make a motion to approve the event as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Kikianga Festival, which also includes a German fest this year. Any discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye. Yeah,
Craig recuses himself.
there's a standing recusal.
Didn't we actually approve the German Fest already?
I did that a month ago or two. Yeah. He just wants to make sure.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it's part of the deal. Any opposed? Okay, that's passed also.
Thank you.
Okay. Phyllis, help me out here. Request to change vendor for encumbered funds.
Okay. We had some issues with some of the items we ordered from first response, so I'm requesting and I don't even know if we can do this, but I thought I'd better ask council first before I do it, because I checked with DLGF and they didn't think we could change a vendor, but I want to get these bills paid. They suggested I talk to State Board of Accounts, but I haven't gotten a response back from them yet. But anyway, when we ordered these uniforms for the new police officers, they didn't come in correctly, so I gave money permission to go to Braitman's and purchase them instead. So we had encumbered that money from last year. So to change that, council approved him carrying that money over to the new year. So if I can have your permission, if it's allowed, to change that vendor.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. That's that.
You need to take this ordinance.
We need to table ordinance 2017-15, and hopefully when we get around to the department head reports, Kevin will say, hopefully at the next meeting we can strike this one and have a new one.
Make a motion to table it.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to table ordinance 2017-15 for the how many at the time?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
All I want to say is, I hope we have a new ordinance before he brings the claims that he wants to write off again.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring those
Good
first.
point. Okay, all in favor for that?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim has another ordinance this evening that we want to read, and it's in reference, this was something that was kind of advised from the Association of Indiana Municipal, or what the AIM stand for? Accelerating Indiana Municipalities. It's the former IACT, and it's an ordinance that would allow city elected officials, department heads to accept getting vendorized, I guess is for lack of a better term. You know, if a vendor wants to take you to lunch, or if a vendor wants to invite you to go to a Tin Caps game or something or other, right now, by this state statute, we're really not supposed to be doing that. And this ordinance, and it was advised, by, like I said, by the state that we adopt this, and most other communities already have. We're kind of lacking behind here. This is a simple ordinance. Tim, what did you say that?
Well, what this is, it deals with a couple of issues. One is it prohibits soliciting gifts for personal gain. It limits what gifts you can accept, and it identifies what other gifts are permissible. So, in the way this is set up, and this was pattern or this language is kind of taken from a sample that was put out by Commonwealth after they conferred with the state, and I think it's been adopted by a number of communities. Most communities, frankly, have adopted a much more extensive ordinance that deals with conflict of interest, as well as a code of ethics. We address those somewhat in our policy manual, so I didn't include those aspects tonight in this. I'll probably look at that language in our policy and then make sure that what we address on those two issues are consistent, because I don't want to have our policy says one thing and we have an ordinance that says something different. So this only deals with gifts. In this case, what it says is that an elected official or employee can accept a gift or multiple gifts from the same donor as long as the annual aggregate value of those gifts don't exceed $100. So if somebody takes you out to dinner 2 times a year. If you have a $50 bill per dinner, or they take you to some sporting event where they pay $8 for a ticket, which sporting events anymore is pretty expensive. So if something like that were done, you are permitted to do it as long as the total value of the gifts for the year don't exceed $100. And that's limited to where that person is doing business with the city, where the public might view that as a way for that vendor to be, trying to influence you or bribe you or reward you for taking some action or inaction, okay? So it's designed to protect against that type of situation. It does not prohibit gifts that are made directly to the city, or that gifts are made by a family member of somebody in the name of an employer, elected official to the city. Or if it's gifts for special occasions such as a marriage, an illness, retirement, or death. So, if we do, somebody in the city retires and a vendor wants to give a small gift because that person worked with that person over the years, they can do it, but it's got to be reasonable. They can't give them a car.
Send them on a trip.
Yeah, it's got to be reasonable. And then, this was in this language. I just kept it in. But for example, if somebody is going to be awarded a plaque or some kind of award, as long as it doesn't exceed $75 in value, you can do that. So, tries to set some parameters that are reasonable. That's what it does.
So those dollar amounts, like the 100 and the 75, is that what was in the...
That's what were in some of these
others.
ordinances and samples.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have some type of a small escalator clause in there in case the value goes up? I mean, or is it just silly?
I would stay with this, and
It's probably
we
not
could always,
affordable for the most part anyway.
yeah, we can always adjust that if things go well.
Not going to Roots, Chris.
Not yet. Hasn't opened yet.
$100 won't take much.
So, but I'll probably be bringing you something else later on
Great.
dovetailing the language of our policy on ethics and conflict of interest. What we adopt in this is consistent, because I think what this is being driven by is some federal funding that is administered through state agencies. The federal government's requiring this. So that's what I suspect. So we're probably going to have these in place. It's just that what was suggested, they had it all lumped together, and so we'll kind of take it piece by piece. Okay?
So with that, Wiley?
Okay, I think this is be 2018-10, is that correct?
Is that right?
10? Yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion to place ordinance 2018-10 on its first reading by short title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place ordinance 2018-10 in its first reading by short title only. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance 2018-10, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which prohibits the solicitation of gifts for personal gain, which establishes limits on gifts to elected officials and employees of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which permits certain gifts and which addresses other matters related thereto.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2018-10 on its first reading.
Second.
A motion and a second to pass ordinance 2018-10 on its first reading. Phyllis, would have a roll call vote?
Craig Koshaw,
Yes.
Matt Dyer,
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Scott Murray.
Yes.
Wiley Sir.
Yes. I'll make a motion to place ordinance 2018-10 on its second reading by short title only.
Second.
A motion and a second to place ordinance 2018-10 on its second reading by short title only. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance 2018-10, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which prohibits the solicitation of gifts for personal gain, which establishes limits on gifts to elected officials and employees of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which permits certain gifts and which addresses other matters related thereto.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2018-10 2018-10 on its second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 2018-10 on its second reading. Phyllis, have a roll call vote?
Craig Koshaw,
Yes.
Matt Dyer,
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp,
Yes.
Scott Murray,
Yes.
Wiley Sir.
Yes. Do we want to suspend the rules on this one, or table it? Okay. I'll make a motion to table ordinance 2018-10 for its third reading at the next meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second to table ordinance 2018-10 until our next regularly scheduled meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. That's everything that's on the agenda. I guess on my end, a couple things. This Sunday evening is the Mercy Beatles concert at Belmont Erickson Theater. We've had a good ticket sales. There are still tickets left. We are going to, if I can say this right, Melissa, the day of the concert, if you show up to buy a ticket, you'll be able to buy a ticket, but it will be by cash only, and it will be in the general admissions section, which is the cheap seats in the back, at $15.
Still good seats.
Yeah, there's still a lot of good seats online. Matter of fact,
There really is no bad seat in that theater.
no, there's no bad seat in that theater. Yeah, in all honesty, those $15 seats are very good. So anyhow, that's this Sunday. This is a benefit fundraiser for the Hannah Nutman Project, which also has kicked off our promotion. The Hannah Nutman Marketing kicked off its Facebook campaign and its Instagram campaign. The web page is still not.
We anticipate this week.
Will go live this week, and there will be some banners, signage, informational boards. There's a bunch of postcards that we're going to have that are going to be passed all around over the next however long it takes us to raise $1 million. We will start accepting donations within the next month, I would say. We're going to make that easy. You'll be able to just click on a link and make a donation online, or you can do it by check. That's an update on Hannah Nutman. And speaking of Hannah Nutman, North Adams Baseball League opening day is this Saturday, and they're trying to make quite a to-do with it all at 8 a.m. They're having T-ball pictures taken at 9 a.m. T-ball games begin at 10 a.m. Major, minor, and coach pitch pictures begin. From 11 to 11:30, there will be opening ceremonies. I'm going to say a few words, and then I get to throw out a first pitch. Then each team and player gets announced, and then they're going to have a young lady from the middle school, I think Ann may know her, and sing the national anthem. It's Ann's granddaughter, actually. And then at noon, there'll be 3 different levels of games going on all at the same time, the majors, the minors, and the coach pitch games on fields 1, 2, and 3. And this all takes place at Monmouth. North Adams Baseball is playing all of their games this year at Monmouth for various reasons. One, the facilities at Hannah Nutman need redone. When you are at Hannah Nutman, if you're watching your child play ball and you're at Jim Miller Field and you have another youngster with you that needs to use the facilities, you have to walk the better part of a quarter of a mile to get to use those facilities. Or if you want to get the child a popcorn or something, or the concession stand is a long way from Jim Miller Field and from, I don't know how the fields are numbered, the other field that they use. The only field that is actually convenient to restrooms and concession is the Rube Wynn Field. So that's one of the big reasons. Monmouth has a concession stand and restroom right in the hub of the layout. If anyone questions, well, then why don't we just not do Hannah Nutman and play all of our games out at Monmouth? Number one, the city doesn't own Monmouth. That's a county park. And number two, there's not enough parking out there to play games out there on a regular basis. So, but this was a decision that was made by North Adams Baseball. It was not made by Decatur Park and Rec. However, we're going to support them. Also that day, the opening day, they're going to have a bounce house set up. They're going to have hamburgers and brats and a slushy machine, and we'll have all the Hannah Nutman Project information on display for everyone to see. So that's kind of neat with North Adams Baseball opening up. The girls softball doesn't begin until after school is finished. The other thing that I have this evening is, again, I've been made a liar. Not really. I announced once in here that the Monroe Street project would begin, and it didn't. And then I came back and I announced it was going to begin May 1st, and it really kind of has. If you've noticed at 5th Street and 7th Street there, they've been taking out some of the corners. There's going to be a lot of that type of concrete work happen before we see any pavement. There'll also be areas where they'll remove existing and do deeper work to make ready for the paving. But ultimately, the email I got today, and this is not the press release, it says the completion date for paving and ADA ramps in Decatur, ready for this, Bob? Is October 31st, 2018, which I wasn't happy. I talked to him on the phone. The same work will also be occurring in Monroe, Geneva, and Bern, as well as Decatur, as part of a $9.6 million contract. In addition to that, there are, I'm not sure, I think it's 14 bridges. One contractor is doing all this work for NDOT under one contract, all these bridges. You see the construction on US 27 between Decatur and Fort Wayne. It's the same contractor doing that work. He has until October 31st to finish all this work. Ours could be done next month, but NDOT cannot tell me when they will be doing ours. They did go to him today and let him know that the city of Decatur feels like we've been stepped on a couple of times because we've been waiting on this long enough. But they have until the end of October. But I do think that we'll probably see paving happening probably June, July. Jeremy, you got any feeling?
I talked to the inspectors, and they're only about 3 weeks away from starting the bill.
Good.
They're still on that June schedule. When you saw that October date,
That's when the whole thing...
This project's in a bundle with 7 other projects.
Right.
The bridge projects, the bridge replacement projects on 27 North, some culverts in the southern part of Adams County, Wells County, and Allen County's all in one project. So that contract is up to the end of October. They have to have everything.
Right.
So, the 2 inspectors I talked to a week ago said probably 3 weeks.
And they'll start milling?
Yep.
Great.
Patching and milling. So there's full depth patching, milling and patching, and then they'll come in and mill the whole thing.
Okay. Jeremy, while you're up, I think you have some things you wanted to discuss tonight. You want to come up and say your piece? Jeremy said he had a lot to talk about. It's going to take about 45 minutes. Saturday. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Just make sure you got it.
Just park your time.
Might sit down for a while.
Well, we're gonna turn up Washington Street again.
I know. That's a good thing.
That's part of the plan.
We're going to come down to New Mexico next.
Somebody's gonna die. I know you can't turn in the street.
It doesn't matter. We've done it before.
Just keep talking, just keep talking.
We've done it before, Bob. All right, well, I'll pass that out before we just kind of lay that aside right now. So really, a lot of things going on right now. People made questions the last several days, last week, where you been? Well, once I go through this list, you'll find out. The weather in Indiana, what more can you say? We go from Antarctic to summer. So that's what's really behind in the last few weeks. All the parks are open, all the water's on in the parks, except at the pool. Next week we'll be starting on working on the pool, putting all the little Band-Aids and stuff in place. There's some plumbing work and such that has to be done at the pool, kind of as a cost-saving method that we'll be working on. The pool painting will start around the 13th of May. That is a project that happens every year. In the midst of everything, picked up 25 trees today, new construction trees. We'll be picking up an additional 75 trees tomorrow for a total of 100 trees that will be planted in the next couple of weeks.
Good.
The work that you approved probably a month and a half ago on First Street between Monroe and Jefferson will start next Monday, May 7th. It will start with the sidewalk work starting at Jefferson and working back to Monroe. So I've met with Steve Hankinson from Biggs a few times in the last couple of weeks. We've kind of worked out their little parking lot configurations, some additional sidewalks and such that they're going to be working on. The same contractor will be doing their work that's doing our sidewalk work out on First Street. Madison Street is really going good. Starting to look really good at this point. They were supposed to start laying pavers yesterday, the subcontractor. They're having a little issue with the trucking, getting the pavers in, but they thought by tomorrow they would get that worked out and start laying pavers. So you're probably about 2 weeks away from having all the concrete work completed, and then the pavers will follow, and then all the light poles and the trees and all the pretty stuff will come with that, the benches and such. I passed out a paving list to you guys. Phyllis has the second quote. That is based off of our phaser system that we are required to do with the state of Indiana. Obviously, that list is not, more than likely not going to be able to be all completed this year. The greatest majority of it will. Where you can look at the bottom where my handwriting is, where it says railroad crossing, I got a quote from both contractors, and we are working with Bungie to do something with the railroad crossing at 2nd Street and at Washington, and also including the railroad. They are very willing to help and assist any way possible. It's been about 8 or 9 years since we've participated or assisted Bungie and the railroad on those crossings, so it's definitely time. The railroad has come in, they've identified some things that they would like to fix all at the same time. You know, it's hopeful that once everyone gets together one more time, we'll have a definite understanding of who's going to do what and go with that. So it's kind of an informational piece for you guys at this point. Like I said, I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to be able to get all this done, but we're going to do the best that we can. There's been a lot of comments in the public about streets like Washington Street. Why haven't you fixed Washington Street? There's a lot of things that's happened on that end of town, and Bob will back me up on this. You know, we had a major water main replacement job on that street. We had a storm sewer that we ran down that street. The storm sewer is roughly 13 feet deep. Matt, if you can look on that, well, I've got it right here. For an example, if we would have went in right away and paved Washington Street at $30,341, by this time this year, and Craig will vouch for this, it wouldn't even look like we even touched it due to the settling issues with burying the pipe 13 feet.
Well, the other part too is you had trucks coming across there.
Trucks coming across. Late into the year
Yeah.
harvest.
Yeah.
We are going one step forward. you guys have approved boring the final bore job for the water main to get under the railroad tracks, and that work has started today. You know, you have to think about all the work that we put in that area. In our lifetimes, it's going to be very low possibility that we're ever going to go back and dig up that street ever again. There's always a possibility, but with the amount of money and stuff that we put in that street, we're getting away from the fact that, like we were many, many years ago, and Craig and I had this conversation 12, 13 years ago, one night. Craig asked me, he says, why do you pave a street and follow each other around and dig it back up? Yeah, very valid point. We did that for many, many, many years. We're changing the way we operate. We're changing our infrastructure improvements. We're no longer going around and we pave, and 24 hours later, we're digging it back up. The record on paving since I've been affiliated with the city has been 10 hours. From the time the paper came off till the time the water main went off. So, if you know you have these problems in these areas, we're making a better effort to address these issues. Yeah, you're going to have a little rougher street for an extra year or so, but I think the public would appreciate spending the money wisely, so we're not spending roughly $30,000 to $35,000 to pave a block and coming back knowing that the chances are we're going to dig it back up 3 or 4 times. That is why we've held off, one of the many reasons why we've held off on paving Washington Street, to make sure that everything's proper. Well, I'll kind of get off my soapbox there, but to me it makes perfect sense. You know, we're averaging 60 to 65 water main breaks a year. That number's starting to come down. And in the end, to make those come down, we have to keep replacing the pipe and improving the infrastructure, and then following up with the paving. So, on May the 21st, I do have a mill scheduled to do as many streets as we can possibly afford to do. I've talked with Phyllis numerous times about, hey, what can we afford, what do we need to do, what can we do this round versus the next round, and such. So we're still working on trying to nail down that, but the mill would come in, the 21st on Monday, probably mill Monday, Tuesday, part of Wednesday, clean, start paving Thursday, Friday, probably finish up Monday or Tuesday the following week. So historically, no one lays surface, especially the way the winter's been, until May 15th. So, you know, we're pretty much right on schedule. Well, actually, you should feel pretty fortunate I can get a mill that quick, because everybody's itching right now to get going. Yeah. So,
Jeremy,
yeah,
a
go ahead.
question, do you have in your future, East Monroe Extended, particularly there around where access is,
Yes.
and kind of in that stretch is getting pretty rough?
Yes, we were hoping to be able to do that this year, but that's going to be a patch at this point. It will probably be a next year.
But it is on your radar.
I've had a couple meetings with Brent Lehman and Larry Carty from the school. They would like to see us do some improvements with some handicap ramps and some markings all at the same time, and improving the pedestrian access and pedestrian crossings in that area. So we're going to hold that off and address some other issues this year with the paving, and work into later on this year and in the spring with some of their pedestrian concerns.
Then would there be any chance in the future that when we're in that area, traffic coming out of the school being a left lane and a right lane?
That's something that it's one of the things that we discussed. They part of the sidewalk and the handicap ramp may need to be moved one way or another, probably to the west to be able to accommodate that, but Larry and Brent's looking more at when the rest of the schools get out there, how much of an issue they're going to have. And that's
Right.
one of the things that we look, try to look forward a little bit and be a little bit more proactive to making sure that we're addressing those issues before we go through a pave.
Because right now, it's a single lane, and particularly trying to make a left
Correct.
can be difficult in the prime time traffic.
Correct. Because when we go out and pave that,
Almost impossible.
when we go out and pave that, you're looking right at $100,000 to pave that, all the way from Expert all the way out to Midway.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you get, that's a budget buster right there, because we're only looking about 250 normally paving, 250, 260, depending on how much we can kind of hoard back from winter and such.
Okay.
So,
Is there any way during that time to fix the sidewalks from the high school to Pickway? Because they're not handicap usable.
They're not. They're not.
There's a guy, because my dad lives out there, and there's a guy who has a motorized wheelchair. He drives down the street because you can't use the sidewalks.
There's a lot of existing driveway approaches that are still there that really need to come out, where they tore houses down
And they're pretty steep.
and that you just can't get down. But the sidewalks are so thin.
It's like a,
Yeah.
And if you walk along there with your ass out into the sidewalk,
Yeah.
thrown out a good 6-8 inches, that looks part of the sidewalk just in that. So I'll keep moving here, but if you guys have questions, just kind of throw them out. The Madison Street restrooms. It was talked numerous times all last summer during summer concert series. I know I stood in the street with Wiley and Craig numerous times, and we'd just look around saying, where can we put restrooms at? And we talked long term about, the riverfront, development at some point, doing something there. And then you guys come up with the opportunity this past winter for the Logan property. Redevelopment purchased that, and, make a long story short, they're very nearly completed. I really have to thank my public works and utility employees for all the hard work that they've done. I went out and solicited an estimate in the very beginning just to see what it would cost to do some preliminary work. And it was not really shocking. I know that stuff's expensive, but we took that on as a winter project. Now it's getting into spring. We've solicited some help from a couple local contractors. Bought a lot of supplies from a local contractor, discounted rate. It's a really, really nice facility. We are, whenever I get free back up and get down there for about a day, we would be completed with everything. There's just some little things that I personally been working on to kind of tighten some stuff up. So it's going to be a great.
If I can jump in,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, a huge thank you to the Redevelopment Commission for purchasing the building and then funding us to be able to do this. A huge thank you to your Public Works guys and making that a winter project and the pride they took in seeing it through and getting it done. And to Kurt for actually drawing up the design of the whole layout. And I want to thank Tyler. Tyler, when you mention a contractor, a local contractor, is actually Tyler used his sources for helping to find a lot of the tile and the restroom partitions and everything that we got at a nicely discounted price, thanks to Tyler stepping up and helping us out. So, and then also Baker Plumbing, because there was a lot of times that he could have done things, and instead he maybe would stand there and advise you guys how to do it, our crews. So Baker Plumbing helped us out a lot as well.
So Rick spent donated a lot of time going down there,
Yep.
just looking over our shoulders,
Yep.
just kind of visiting, just to make sure everything was good.
But it was no minor project. I mean, you guys tore out concrete, put in new plumbing. underground, and it was and if you see it, when you guys see it, you're going to say, wow. I mean, it's as nice of a public facility as you'll see.
Little
Don
main,
has pictures back on his laptop of what we started with, and I really don't want to share those until we're completed. But, you'd be amazed at what it has today.
yeah. But Main Street would also like to go on that thank you as well.
Okay, just about done, Bob. Getting right out of ink.
Run out of
This week, we've demoed the fifth out of the 6-foot house, flood buyout house, so we're waiting to close on the last 6 months. And then that will be completed. There's just some more cleanup and grass seed work that has to be done yet. All that went really, really well. Last Wednesday, my staff and Don worked across the street over here at First and Monroe on that demo. Went very, very well. Probably a little better than expected. So other than one little mishap that we had that we still laugh about, it was minor.
Wasn't that the Ernest T. Bass through a brick kind of thing?
Yeah, something in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I have met with Matt Bondern from NERC on the Nature Preserve grant that we had, just trying to get that thing finalized. DNR seems happy with what we've done so far. There's some little plantings and stuff that need to be completed yet that was in the contract, so that will be probably over the next 60 days or so that she would take care of. And also Emerson Brown. Really want to thank Emerson ahead of time here. He has stepped up and took on an interpretive signage project for the Nature Preserve for his Eagle Scout project. Looked at the signs. The signs are very nice. Hopefully in the next few weeks that they should be delivered to where Emerson can get them put up when he gets out of high school here at the end of the year. Do you have them done?
No.
They're not done.
They're being made right now.
They're being made, so. Just want to thank Emerson and his family for stepping up and raising the funds to cover that project. Other than that, everything's going pretty well. It's busy, but everything's...
Jeremy, if you would, I've already been asked multiple times, next phase for the building we just tore down. People noticed you brought in a bunch of dirt.
That's up to council. We brought in dirt to fill in everything at this point. And that's going to be up to you guys to decide what the feature of that corner is going to be.
I think the answer to that is for everyone sitting up here to keep your ears open, listen for suggestions. Jeremy's already looking at getting quotes on what we could possibly do with that wall, because it's not good, unfortunately, but it's not as big as the one we had to do across the street. He's looking into bricking it, looking into blocking it with block rather than brick, a decorative block. But for now, keep your ears open. Don't promise anybody anything, but go from there.
Any questions? I know I threw a lot of stuff in a hurry. But
Just glad to have that down from a safety standpoint. It's been a problem.
When will the house on Winchester go?
I'll let go.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully in the next 3 weeks. I need to check with Jason Notice from NIPSCO and see what his schedule is.
Right, okay.
Questions, concerns? Nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They knocked that job
Thank
out
you.
over there. That was cool.
Yeah.
You guys got on that, got it out of there. Great.
You guys have
Good
very
work.
talented staff.
Yep, we do.
Very cool.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank the boys.
Lenny, you have anything this evening?
No, sir.
Les?
Just a couple things. Do you have a weather app or anything? You might notice this year, recently, like today, you got a red flag warning. A couple calls at the station about what it meant, especially when they did the tornado siren test today. But it's just kind of a new thing that the National Weather Service is issuing on today was from noon to 8, was conditions were right, and the ground cover's right, the low humidity and the winds, that there's some potential there for ground fires, rough, and that sort of thing. People in the county need to be careful as they, kind of clean up, and just be careful with those kind of brush fires, and be respectful of neighbors and wind directions and wind speeds. Of course, in the city, there is no burning except what would be recreational in a campfire setting, but so this basically is for the county residents to just take a little care and caution over. So right in that influx where there's still a lot of dry ground cover, grass is greening, but the dry ground cover that's intermingled can still burn rapidly and pushed easily by the wind. And so just some care in the spring cleanup would be appreciated. That's it.
Okay. Kevin?
New software's coming along.
Wait a minute, it's not coming along, it's in.
It's in, it's there. People will start seeing their bills. They look a little bit different now. We have a few boxes of bills left back there, so once we run out of those, there's some different features that will be coming to your bill too. It'll have your usage for the past year and bar graph. A few different things. I got some passwords and stuff on our software on our site, so that way consumers can get online and pay their bill online now. They'll got to be implemented in the next probably week or so. We'll be able to have the capability to take an e-check now. That'll be hopefully by June, that'll be up and running. So that'll just be another option for people. It's going along good though. We've talked to a few property owners as well, and showed them how to use the customer portal. And they're able to view all of their properties, balances, who's living there.
So once the girls are all accustomed to it and we pass this ordinance, then do you plan to like meet with all the landlords and show them how to use the portal, or are you just going to...
It's basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a link on the customer portal to everybody that has a utility bill. You can get on there, pay their bills, use things, there's different options you can do. So there's just a link on the side that says landlord report, so if you have owned more than one property, it'll all be listed there. Very nice. And once we get past this first cycle of billing, after this week, everything will be worked out with the software, and should be more comfortable with it, and then we can get going on the next ordinance to finally get that wrapped up. Changes in policy, having people come in and sign off on how you sign up for service. We don't do it over the phone anymore. Come in and sign some paperwork. Make it a little more, we can track things a little better.
Good. Don, what you been up to?
Jeremy said no, I'm good.
Kurt, you good? Mr. Carbach? I didn't see Ann back there. Ann, you good?
I'm good.
Melissa, anything else? Anything from council members? Matt?
I have two things. One for Les. I was curious as to, do we know or could you investigate the process of these baby boxes? It passed the state legislature last year, and one has been used for the second time already in the state up northwest. I just didn't know if you knew anything about that, or maybe could investigate.
Woodburn has them.
Woodburn has one?
Yeah, that's one of the two.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah, Mayor Joe Kelsey up there, him and his wife, they were big into
Yeah.
making...
I'm wondering, though, also the hospital could be another location as well.
Sure. But just was curious as to...
The hospital could also maybe, I don't know if they have any conversation going on with that or not.
There's some
It was an
legislation
idea for like the safe haven, also just sitting on the sidewalk, you could put it here and close it, there's an alarm that goes off when somebody comes in.
Yeah, I'm aware of what's going on with those. We do have a baby safe haven policy in place, so on duty, and really guys know what they're supposed to do if that does happen.
But this kind of just takes it the next step further from what I've read.
Yeah, there are some questions about, there are times when we're out of the building, and whether it's,
Facility has to be manned 24 hours a
so,
day.
it's just,
Yeah.
there's some unanswered,
That's why the hospital would be another good,
but
Sure.
that, there is some legislation and there's some things in the books about them, and but we do, for peace of mind, we do have a policy that everyone knows what they're supposed to do in these minutes, if there is a drop-off.
Good. Secondly, with the campaign kicking off for Hannah Nutman, there's a lot of excitement, especially on Facebook, about that. Some questions as to layout and what teams are going to be here. The mayor addressed some of that earlier with some moving out to Monmouth. But who makes that decision? I think there's a lot of people thinking we as a city council make the decision what league goes here, what league goes there.
We'll work that out through the park board and the leagues.
So the city park board, county park board, city park board. So has that been decided, or is that still in the decision?
Still somewhat up in the air. We haven't started construction yet.
Like I said, it's just, there's a lot of excitement, but then some questions as to, well, where's this going, where's that going? So direct them to the city park board.
Primarily, the men's league is the big question, where they're going. So,
But overall, a lot of positive feedback and a lot of excitement for the Hannah Nutman project.
Yep.
I got one more thing to share.
Go ahead, Craig.
This last weekend, I just wanted to share this. Was with a group of 10 people that went through the Historical Society's escape room, and I just want to give out a big shout for those guys. That was an absolute
You
blast.
didn't get out either, did you?
No, we didn't get out. Nobody got out. Has anybody got out yet?
It's closed, though.
Yeah.
I'm booked for May 12th.
I'm just saying, if you get a chance, go. It's a riot. It's a good time.
We have
The max-
six
there's a group
of us
that
are
makes it
going May
very
12th.
entertaining.
You can go get up to 10, so if anybody else wants to go, let me know. We'll put
Great
them
for
in.
team building skills for corporate and families. I know I talked to people that are going to take grandma on her birthday and Mother's Day things, so I'm just telling you, it was a blast. We had a riot.
Thanks, Greg.
Do you have video
All for me.
And are you surprised he didn't get out?
7th Street. If you haven't been past the police department, fire station, those flags, the U.S. flags, looks very, very nice. And in front of the police department, landscaping looks exceptional. It really spruced up the front of the building, and something to be proud of.
Absolutely. I was going to keep an eye on that landscaping for you.
And the flag, the rest of the flags, the posts, and all the new flags, the poles are all made, painted, and so we're ready to go with the rest.
Awesome.
We'll have them up by May 19th, Armed Forces Days. They'll be flying here in the next
Okay.
week or so.
Anything from the public? We have 3 people from the public. Or anything out there? If not, I would look for a motion to pay the claims.
I have to accuse myself from that.
Motion to play the claims.
Second. Have a motion and, again, 2 seconds to pay the claims. And Tyler will recuse himself. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Good meeting.